Hi there, Chris Piercy here of Wedding Industry Wisdom, joined as always by Jack Brister. Say hi, Jack.
Hello.
And joining us also is Mike. How are you doing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
So this is a little bit different to how we normally do our Monday night lives. As number one, it's not live, it's being recorded live. But what we're doing instead is we're actually doing a live coaching call with Mike, who runs a DJ business. We've already done a website audit for him. And then off the back of that, we're then doing a coaching call about little bits and pieces that we picked up as we were going through the website audits that we felt, there was warranted a bit more going into. Have I explained that well enough, do you think, Jack?
You've done best, so
can't redo it now, so that'll have to do. So, first of all, Mike, what did you think of the website audit, and what's off the back of that? What changes have you made straight off the back of that?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It was exactly what I needed. So I've spent since June rebranding, and between me and the guy who helped me designed the website for me, but obviously with my micromanagement. So yeah, basically, I needed sort of like, not for a friend to look at it or a family member to look at it. I needed someone in the industry outside of my little circle to give me feedback on the detail. And I know you said to me, it's a very good website, blah blah, but you were nitpicking, and that's what I really wanted. The nitpicking was the most important thing for me, because I want to get things perfect. I don't want to keep coming back to working on the website over and over and over again, which I've done for many, many years. Hence why I ended up paying someone to do it. So it was very useful. I think within a few days, because I don't know if the listeners know this, but you sent me a video recording of you both reviewing the website. So I watched it first of all. I went back a few days later, watched it again, taking notes. And then I put a lot of it into action. Some of it I didn't. But I would say 70% of your recommendations I did. The bits I didn't was because it was out of my hands. Most of that was to do to basically the guy who does my website. He would have just charged me a bit of money towards changing things that maybe we didn't need to change at this moment in time. But the bits I did change, I'm now looking at thinking, why did we not do that at the start?
Yeah, I think that we've been back over the website in our own time, just to look over it and see what's changed. And I think that in general, Jack, we're pretty impressed with the changes that have been made, right?
Yeah, and that's the key thing with anything that we talk about and we teach, is that you've got to end up implementing it and doing it, because you can listen to all this stuff, you can take it all in and not do anything about it, and nothing's going to change. But in fact, we saw almost instantly changes going on your website, Mike. Really proved to us that you are an action taker and you are prepared to make this work, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think it's really important as a business to actively seek out feedback from people who, like you said, Mike, are outside of your circle, because they're gonna. There's no reason for us to do anything else apart from be completely honest with you. So, fortunately, your site was one of the better ones that we've audited. We've had to be a lot harsher with some of them. But the harshness is always appreciated. So you came into before the call, we were talking about what you wanted to talk about on it, and you said about the pricing and the packaging is something that you're not quite sure on, and we're a little confused by it as well. So we think that at the moment it doesn't quite make sense.
Okay.
So well, if I just go onto your site, so at the moment, and I'm just going to skim over these at the moment. Well, you did what we definitely advise doing, which is you completely removed your lowest package.
Yep.
Which you said not many people booked anyway, but it just looked far too cheap for the quality that you looked like you were going to be giving. So that your middle package is now your bottom package. Is
Correct.
That right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you've got a silver package which says have you there for 5 hours, you get your uplighters, you get your monogram, booth set up, a couple of meetings with you, and the access to your online music portal, and that's 695. And I think that's a decent price for a decent service. I think, I think that when we came on your website before and we went to the packages page, when we saw that you started at 400 quid, both of us were just like, that does not make sense. This is not the website of a £400 DJ. So I think it's good that you've just knocked that straight on the head. So that's fine. I think it's the two packages after that is where there is confusion, and I think some changes need to be made. So you've got the gold package, which you call the icing on the cake, I like that name. So you've got you get your LED dance floor, you get confetti cannons depending on the venue. You get your uplighters, you get love letters, which is something that is very, very popular, and people means that they don't have to find somewhere else for it. You get your monogram, you get your 5-hour thing, you get access to the online music portal, and you get your 2 meetings with you, and that's 1,300. So that's your second package, and then your third package is then that's 1,300 quid. Then your third package is then £100 cheaper than that.
But that doesn't include the dance floor and does include the love letters. Yeah,
absolutely. But we've been through this, but I think there's two issues with this.
Yep.
Number one is that I think if everyone read everything, then you'd probably get away with this. But people are lazy, and people skim through stuff, and people are going to go right. So I get 5 hours for 1,300 quid, or I can have him all day for £100 less, which doesn't really make sense. So what me and Jack have spoken about, and I realise that I'm doing all the talking here, so Jack, you can feel free to butt in at any time.
Okay.
What me and Jack were talking about is having the second package and third package. So your all day, well, the packages 2 and 3 should both be all day coverage. Yeah. And price the middle one at whatever you want it to be, but then the most expensive package should be all day, and your dance floor, and your confetti cannons, and your love letters, and everything else. Because I think that, because then what you could do is you could charge, say, 1,200 quid for what is currently your gold package, and then all day with all the bells and whistles and everything on is then 1,800 quid. I don't know what price fits in, but it then makes a very natural flow to the prices, rather than essentially you're going 700 or 1,300 or back down to 1,200 again. Okay. And I think the gold package and the all day package is just going to create confusion in a buyer's mind as to, well, I don't know which one is right for me. I mean, Jack, have I explained that well enough?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the kind of the key thing is people are lazy, and they're going to see that you can get all day for less than you can get 5 hours. So obviously you explain it within the copy that you've got here on your website, but people aren't going to read that, and if they do read it and they're trying to compare, because of the way your website's laid out, which we do like, is you can't compare them side by side. So you can't kind of see 12-foot LED dance floor. Okay, that one doesn't have the LED dance floor straight away. You have to do the scrolling and then find out which one's which. So maybe you could look at. I know you obviously have this going throughout your website, the whole off boxed thing, which is quite cool, and I quite like it. So you obviously don't want to be doing those side by side, but it's I think the key thing is to kind of look at how you can make it easier to understand which package is what and what's included. In fact, you've got the optional things in your all-day package. I wouldn't put that in there because I'm kind of going, is that included, or is that an option? Is that an option that I get to choose, or do I have to pay extra for it? It's not very clear in my mind anyway. So I would be getting rid of those, and once someone's inquired, talk about those as an upsell, because I'm assuming they're extras that you have to pay for. So I'd be talking about them as an upsell later on down the process, rather than at the beginning of your process with a bride or groom.
Okay, I'd share with you a bit of an idea I came up with last night, because I was aware of this. I haven't been overly happy with how the packages are laid out. So I basically was thinking about where I've got the silver package and the gold package. I was then going to have the all-day silver, all-day gold.
Okay.
One's
So
one's nodding, one's.
we gonna have, or is that going to be you're going to have a silver package, gold package, and all day silver package and an all day gold package? Is that?
Yeah, so basically, in a way, I was going to do it. So I was going to label it up as like evening reception package silver, all day package silver, evening reception package gold, all day package gold.
Maybe I think that you'd want to call them different things for a start, but I think that we're very strong believers that 3 is the magic number when it comes to packages, because it's the right amount of ones for people to choose from. Because once you've got 4 options in front of you, and you think, okay, well, do I want the silver, or do I want all day silver? Or if I'm going for the all day silver, I might as well, is that the same price as the normal gold? You know, and then I think what you want is a tiered thing like that. So so you can have your silver, which is 5 hours of coverage. You've got your all day, which is you there hosting the day and doing the evening, doing the music during the wedding breakfast or whatever. And then you've got the top package, which has all the bells and whistles on it. And then from there afterwards, you can then chuck in whatever upsells that you think. But you know, this isn't the whole point of this. Is as a call, it's not a dictatorship. It's a discussion. It's a conversation. So you know, anything that we say is completely up for discussion. Sure. So if you don't like that for whatever reason, then this is what it's all about. It's about.
I suppose. For me, it was more. So do get clients who can't have dance floors because for whatever reason within the venue there isn't enough time period to put a dance floor in. Some venues already have their own dance floors. So by having this super duper package, all day package, then that might not even be an option for them. So I don't want to eliminate them thinking, well, we can't use him for the all day because there's no point because we can't have his dance floor because the venue's already got the dance floor.
Okay, sure. So opinion, the 3. Sorry, I was just going to say the 3 packages I would be going with then, because that makes sense to me. Is but going off what you said a second ago, is I'd have the silver all day, and then the gold all day would be my 3 packages. I wouldn't call them those, but those are the 3 packages I would have, because then you're allowing people who don't want you all day to book you, and then you can upsell the other little bits. You could upsell the dance floor for a couple of quid, obviously a little bit more than a couple of quid, but you know, a little bit extra and that kind of thing. And then you've got the all day package for those who don't want the dance floor but want you all day, and then you've got the all bells and whistles package as well, where they've got the gold package all day that includes all of the extra little bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty solid idea. Or the alternative option, just to kind of just to put it out there, would be to have this all-day package with all the bells and whistles that you're talking about, and then make it clear, like things like dance floors, which people may not be able to have, is you make the point that they are included free. So if they can't have it, it's not a case of, well, I want you to take off this much for me because you're including it for free. So it then means that they're not losing anything, they're just not getting something. But I think how Jack laid it out probably makes sense as to what you want to call it. I mean, the silver, gold, platinum, or is kind of almost industry standard. I mean, mine is gold, platinum, diamond. I mean, it's whatever you want to call it, you call it that. But I think that what you want to end up with is absolute clarity in what it is that you are providing people with. And I think that with the second and third package at the moment, there is not clarity whatsoever. Because presumably you want people to book you for one of the either package 2 or 3, ideally.
Yeah, I suppose ideally, yeah.
What's your favorite package? Which one do you want to do the most? Because that's the one that you want to be gearing your packages in terms of the pricing and things towards. So if maybe if it is the middle one you want to be doing, then you want to make the other ones just seem not quite the value for money that the middle one is, because then people will be then drawn to, oh, that one's not quite giving us enough, and that one's too expensive for us, so we'll go for the middle one. I think in general, the middle one always feels like the safe option for people.
Okay. No, I'll take that on board. Yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, which package do you want to do?
Yeah, biddy all day would always be my preference. You know, that's the one that gives me the goosebumps. You know, being able to get involved as much as I do. But then sometimes you want just the evening bit, because you know you've got other bits bobs going on, and you know you bash some of them out, in and out, sort of. You know, so the all days are longer, where the evenings you're in and out, bosh. So it's, I don't have a preference. You know, there's not one of them I go have a negative. Oh God, I can't believe they've booked that. You know, do you know what I mean? It's.
Did you used to get that with the £400 bronze one though? Were you a bit like?
Not really, because I was always confident I could convert them, because I would always just say to them that it really does not make sense for you to choose this option. You know, please let me explain. And 9 times out of 10 they were like, oh, I didn't realise, because they were so quick to fill in a form, or they weren't listening at a wedding fair or something like that.
So like the £400 was a nice kind of way of getting them in the door, and then once they're in the door, it was a pretty simple way to convert them up to a higher package.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good work then, I think, definitely. I mean, would you say you've got a good idea of how you would work the packages now, or is it going to need obviously require a little bit of time to kind of mull over it?
You know, to be honest, I'll be really honest now. My package is always changing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's more based on how busy I am and all that sort of stuff. And you know, sometimes like tonight, I'm over in an open day or an open evening. Now, I know if I go there and I pick up loads of bookings, the next time I go, then I might bump up my packages and all that sort of stuff. So I'm always changing them. You know? But they never go down. They always go up.
Well,
that's good.
They're heading in the right direction. That's good. But I think that just in terms of consistency, it's nice to have the packages in a pot. I mean, presumably you're changing them. And when you say you're changing the packages, are you changing the content of them or just the price?
Both, really. Just because it's only based on like what clients have asked for, and I thought, oh, that's a brilliant idea. You know, someone gave me a really good idea the other day about, you know, if they book you after 12 o'clock, you don't just chuck on an extra 50 quid. It's a separate package. You know, it's called an after dark package. And it's all stuff like that. So I'm thinking, I need this extra package for after 12 o'clock. You know, it's just
I think that's an upsell rather than a separate package. It's something you bring up once you've firmed the booking with them. You then say, oh, you know, I think an after dark package might be, or an after dark add-on would be really good for your wedding because of XYZ. It's only blah, blah, blah.
I'll just re-say what I just said.
Okay.
When I'm talking about packages, I'm not talking about what I add on to the website. So these could be the background.
Okay, cool.
Going on.
Yeah.
That I add on, that I use for upselling, and then the automatic emails go out. You know, would you like to take advantage of this? And
cool. As a point, whilst we're still talking about your packages and the website layout, a personal thing of mine is once you've got the 3 packages kind of roughly sorted and you've changed them around a bit, I would have them going the other way round. So you have the top package at the top, the middle package stays in the middle, and the bottom package at the bottom, purely because I come onto the website and I come onto that page and I go 695. Obviously it's a good price, but it could seem like a lot to some people. And then they're going to see 13 and they're going to see 12 and they go, cool, he's really expensive, and maybe go somewhere else. But if they see the 13 or whatever the big number is first, then they scroll down. Actually, they can only have you for 700. They're going to go, that's a bargain compared to the 1300. So it's just one of those little psychological things that maybe you might want to look at doing, swapping those round.
I'll take that comment on, definitely.
Yeah, it's a kind of like, you know, it's almost like you're discounting. It's like, we're not going to charge you this, we're not going to charge you this, we're going to charge you this. It's not quite, but it has that effect, because people don't know which way the number's going to go. But if you get the shock of the highest number out of the way first, then it's you know, some people might go 1,300, excellent, that sounds perfect, book it straight in. Or they might go looking for a high number and there isn't one and think, oh, that's very reasonable. So yeah, I mean, what I would say is have a real good think about what you want the 3 packages to include, and decide and cement yourself into those for a good amount of time. Because the thing is, if you're constantly chopping and changing things, then you're never really properly testing stuff. So I think that it's nice to have some consistency, at least for a few months or at least for a season, so that you know which package works, which one people tend to go for, which one seems like it's too expensive, which one seems like it's too cheap. And then, you know, in terms of upsells, you can have as many upsells as you want. Essentially, there's nothing to stop you having 1,000 of them. So, you know, upsells, they can be played around with, because they're the sort of things that you're throwing in, you know, once you've already got, you know, the booking secured. So by all means, play around with those as much as you like. But I think that, yeah, the packages should have some concrete consistency for them for at least a season, just so you know what's what. Yeah. Because too much change means that you're not actually learning anything from the testing that you're doing. What do you think about that, Jack?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Mike, I want to say something.
No, I just agreed. I agree.
Oh, okay.
you are allowed to disagree with us as well, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing is, the great thing about having upsells is that it's essentially free money for you, isn't it? Because you've already confirmed the booking, you're happy with the £700 or the £1,200, whatever the money is that they're paying you for the package, and all the upsells are just great little bits of free money, essentially. Because you're probably not having to put that much more effort or that much more work into doing them, and that's how an upsell should look. Is it should look like it should have a high amount of value for the client and have very little expense for you. And that looks like what you've got at the moment, which I think is great. So the fact you've got lots of upsells is really good, because it is just free money at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you mentioned about was, because obviously you'd invested in the Facebook course and you were looking to get into doing some more blogging as well. Yep. So you were trying to think of topics that you can talk about within your own blogs. Now, what I always end up saying to people is that they know way more than they realize that they know about the wedding industry. You know, even if you were coming on this call and you'd done 10 weddings and that's all you'd ever done, you would probably know like 3 times as much about weddings as anyone else who's planning their wedding. So no matter what stage you're at, you have knowledge and insight which you can impart. But you've probably done hundreds of weddings, so there will be things which you turn up at a wedding at, and they turn your stomach inside out because they bug the hell out of you so much. Or there will be things that you turn up and they just instantly you got a massive smile on your face because you love it when that particular thing is at a wedding. Those sort of things which seem completely natural to you, and that's just they've got that whatever. Those are the sorts of things which actually make great blog material, because what you want to be providing within a blog is not, you don't want to be providing knowledge, because knowledge is what you go on Google for. You type something on Google and something pops up. What you want to be providing is insight, and that is something completely different. Insight is, that's insider knowledge. That is something which you can only learn through an experience of doing 500 weddings or 300 weddings or whatever. So whether that's 50 things that bug the hell out of you at weddings, or the 12 things that put a massive smile on your face, or how to make your cake cut run perfectly, or I've done a blog on when you should have your wedding speeches. Don't worry about being controversial. Controversy is good. Last thing you want to be doing is being boring. I think I said to you in a message, and I've said this in the wedding blog writing course, is let's say your bride starting at A and the perfect wedding is at Z. Your job with a blog is to get them from F to G. It's not taking them from A all the way to Z. You don't have to solve every single problem they've got. It's just taking you that little step further forward towards their dream wedding, whatever that step might be. So hopefully that's
Yep, no, that helps, and that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
I've got a few ideas about a few blogs, but what I need to now do is just look at what you just said about, are they insightful rather than knowledgeable?
Well, there's nothing wrong with like putting some knowledge on there, but I think that the more insightful it is, the more value it's inherently going to have to someone reading it, because if you just put 9 wedding entertainment ideas as a thing, yes, like it will be something that you've experienced and you can give a first-hand like account of that, but there's 10 million of those posts already on various people's wedding sites and Pinterest and wherever else. So it's if you can describe a first-hand experience of them, that is a little bit different. Or you could say why you shouldn't waste money on sweethearts or something like that, or whatever. It's nothing wrong with just knowledge, but if you can have knowledge combined with your experience of that particular thing, then it provides that little bit more. Hopefully I'm making sense by saying that.
No, definitely, and that is my biggest concern, what you just said a minute ago, that it ends up just like every other blog.
Yeah.
And that's really what I don't want. And I've got a copywriter who writes my stuff for me, but I still have to provide him with the ideas and the content and all that sort of stuff. And I actually spoke to my wife this morning. I said to her, look, when we got married, what was the concern for us? What could I write a blog about? She gave me a few ideas, and I'm gonna send me ideas over to the copywriter and see what he thinks. Go from there.
Well, I think the important thing to kind of realize is what's the difference between what your blog will be and everyone else's blog, and also just generic blogs like Rock My Wedding and those kind of blogs. Because if a bride just wants an opinion, just wants a fact or wants to know something, they'll go onto Google, or they'll go onto a much bigger blog. They'll go onto Rock My Wedding, something like that, where they can find all that stuff out. What you're able to provide is your first-hand experience of having done those things and seen those things and your opinion on them. So that's the kind of thing you need to be working with, really, because that's what's going to make you stand out from all the other ones that are there.
Yeah, definitely. So what I was planning to do was to go down the route and saying, look, having a blog about what's an idea that's been really successful. So give an example. So I had a client who basically we decided that the last 45 minutes of the wedding was going to be loads of rock music, like Bon Jovi and all that sort of stuff. And so the idea was that I would go and buy loads of inflatable guitars. We was going to hide them. No one's going to know about it. Last 45 minutes, I threw out 50 blow-up guitars, and the photos are amazing because it was the reactions to people with these blow-ups. I've done ones before where I had a couple who were really into clubland music. So we went and bought loads and loads of whistles. The last 15 minutes, we whacked on 3 clubland tunes to end the wedding with, and I threw out loads of whistles, and everyone was going crazy. So that's where I was thinking about going down. So like sharing what an idea was and how it ended successful.
See, that is something that I've not really heard of before. So instantly in my head, I'm thinking, if you have a blog title, for example, that said how inflatable guitars made the last 45 minutes of this wedding insane, that's inherently something that title can be improved upon once it's gone around my head a few times. But that's the sort of thing that people are going to go, that is interesting. Now, what's interesting about it as well is that for some people, they'll be like, oh my God, inflatable guitars, are you kidding me? I can't think anything worse. But then on the flip side, you are also going to have people going, holy, I want that. It's and the thing about blogging is you've got to be not afraid to offend and put people off. Like Jack especially will put off way more people with his approach to things than he will attract them. But that's because he's priced at the kind of very highest end of the market, and he knows that 90% of the people won't pay his price. But he only has to attract that 10% or whatever it might be, because that's all that matters. So if you don't want to be outright just rude about stuff, but being controversial is not an issue whatsoever. it really is should be actively encouraged to be
and I think what's also going to happen is, while as you use two quite extreme examples there of the kind of the inflatable guitars and the whistle example, is that it will obviously, the guitars will put off most of the people who think actually clubland music's quite cool. They're going to put each other off, but equally they're going to attract each other as well. So they may go, okay, well, he does these guitar things, I'm not really a big fan of that, but I really like the idea of this whistle thing. Yeah. So the fact it shows you're versatile and you're able to do more than one thing is really cool. And it not only is it informative and it's got an opinion about it, it's got some life, it's got something interesting, it's also selling you in a really subtle way, because you're not saying this is what I do at every wedding, or this is just something that I've done once. And it may then spark in their mind, they go, okay, well, air guitars or inflatable guitars aren't for me, but maybe he might be able to do this for me instead. So it's also going to sell you in a really nice subtle way as well. So I think that kind of route is a really nice way for you to go, for sure.
Yeah, and also just combining that whole thing with the Facebook advertising. Facebook's got the most powerful targeting system of the world. So when you're looking, what you can do is you can target engaged people. You can round it down by the age that you think will be interested into that music. And not only that, you can then, if you're playing Bon Jovi, if you're playing, I don't know who else, like Alice in Chains and stuff, like, or whatever it might be, you can target people who like that particular type of music.
Oh, yeah.
Because they will then go, yeah, I want that. Whereas, if you for the Clubland thing, you target people who like Ibiza and like they like Fatboy Slim, or they like whoever, or the legends of Clubland, whoever that might be. That's the beauty of it. You can then have two completely separate things which are then being funneled down through back into your website and shows off your versatility. And if you've got photos, if you've got videos of that going on as well, that is even more powerful than the words that are going to be written. So it would be a great route to go down. And I think that the fact that you're so dynamic with having that as an option for people is an incredible trait to have, because I think DJs and Toastmasters especially are really bad at getting caught up in the old ways of how we used to do things, and stuff like that. Whereas you are, you're setting, you're trailblazing.
I do so many different things. I've been at all day weddings where I've had playing rounders, one family versus the other family, big rounders match, stuff like that. For me, they're the blogs I want to get written about, how to have the most fun at your all-day wedding, that sort of. And have a video of there, because I got the guy who videoed it. I got all his material of it, and
well, that sort of content is not the sort of stuff you can just Google and find, but it is the sort of stuff that people are genuinely going to find interesting. And if you can make it so it stops people in their tracks when they're scrolling through their Facebook with the advertising methods which are taught within the course, then all of that combined is going to lead to a huge amount of pretty cheap traffic onto your site. And the fact that you're also going to be very subtly selling yourself through that means that you may not even have to go through that second stage at all. It's just going to be providing great content to people who are in your area and interested in the thing that you're doing. So, you can, like I said, that second stage may not even be necessary for you, because it's going to create such a hype about you and everything that you do.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that. I don't think I could recommend a better course of action than that, given what you said. So definitely on the right track with that.
And without you guys, I would never even thought about going down this road, because I was only recommended to you guys to have a look at your Facebook workshop. And I'm so surprised of how many people don't know about the Facebook pixel. It's insane, and I'm not talking about just Bob off the street. I'm talking about people in business, who, fellow DJs of mine, big DJs, who have no idea about Facebook pixel. And you mention about Facebook marketing to them, and they're like, oh, they just follow Zoom, it doesn't work. Well, it actually does if you follow the right process.
Yeah,
it's exactly that. I mean, people are very dismissive of things, and as I've said before, is that people will, when something doesn't work, they will blame the the system, they won't blame the tactics. So the problem is that Facebook advertising works. There's no doubt about it. Google advertising works. There's no doubt about it. It's just the tactics that people are using aren't working for them. So then they need to look at changing the tactics rather than changing the system that they're using. The system works. There's no doubt about it. So, you're absolutely right. The people don't know that stuff exists. And there are big companies as well who don't know that the pixel exists. For those people that are listening and don't know what a pixel is, essentially it allows you to retarget people and show them your ads who have been on your website. Because you'll sometimes I see it happen relatively regularly. I'll go on a website of a big company, buy something, and yet I still get advertised with it. They're essentially at that point wasting their money on me because I've already bought the item. So, that's the kind of stuff you can stop wasting your money on.
100%, 100%. And it's a game changer, and I don't use that word that much. It is a complete and utter game changer. And I'm cracking on Monday with mine, and I can't wait to get in place.
Yeah, I think it's, going back to what Jack was just saying about like things not working, whatever. We've had people saying our wedding fairs don't work. And we're like, are you bloody kidding me? You're being put in a room with people looking to buy stuff for their weddings. So, it's not the wedding fair that's the problem. It's how you're trying to do stuff on the day that's the problem. I realize it's going off on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, the same thing applies. With regards to the course that I have for sale, I didn't just start doing it and all of a sudden I was getting 4p a click. I started off just like everyone else did, getting it's cost me £2 to go on to get someone on my website, or £3 to get someone on my website. I'm like, what the hell? And it was only through reading up on various different things and realizing there wasn't something out there for the wedding industry that I started honing a system that actually went, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't people clicking? Why is such a low percentage of people clicking? And then realizing that you actually need to put stuff out there that people actually want to read. And being aware that Facebook advertising is different to someone who's actively looking for you. But again, we are going off on a tangent. So anyway, this is your time, Mike. So is there anything else within your that you would like to talk about? Is there anything that any obstacles you've got, anything that you think, any notes you've got in your notebook there?
Yeah. I suppose briefly coming away from what we've been talking about, but getting into venues. So I have a process in place to get friendly with venues, and
that sounds rather sinister, Mike.
That does. Absolutely, yeah. I use that word I never use again. It's a game changer when you do get into a venue. Any suggestions of how to approach a venue with more success?
Well, I think because we've seen your process, because you also bought an email follow-up audit.
Yes, that's right.
We have seen the beginnings of your process, and I think you're heading down the right track for sure. When you were targeting a venue who you've already performed or you're going to be performing at and DJing at, I think that's a great way to start, because they will see what you do and how you are different as well. And especially if you're going to start getting more brides and grooms coming to you through those blogs that you're going to start writing, or your copywriter is going to start writing, these venues will be able to see you are on a different level for sure, because if they're going to be coming up with these ideas and these different things, they're going to see you're different. The biggest problem is, I imagine, is that most venues will already have a recommended DJ. So you have not only convinced a DJ is a good idea, you've got to convince them to change from their current DJ to you, which is a hard thing to do, I imagine. Go on, Chris. You look like you want to say something.
Well, I was kind of going to say something that you were going to be saying, but yeah, it's I'll follow up by saying that I think what you're doing that most people aren't potentially doing is great, with the follow-up emails that you're doing and the kind of the preemptive emails as well. Obviously, we recommended a couple of tweaks within them, but that sort of approach is just uber slick and uber professional, and that is probably going to set you apart from, well, definitely the lesser DJs out there, shall we say. But I think that sometimes it's just got to be a case of just keep knocking on their door, keep not literally, but just keep being everywhere, keep being seen over and over and over again, keep getting booked for that venue, and then you reach a point where you're essentially part of the furniture and impossible to ignore, and at that point, the work does itself. So, I mean, whilst you can't necessarily, force bookings at particular places to happen, if you just if certain clients always, like certain ideal clients are always going to be booking at that venue, you keep like going for those type of clients, which is why we thought that £400 package was a great idea to drop, because the last thing you want, because the people who are going to be buying that £400 package are never in a million years going to be considering a £1,300 package. So by dropping that cheaper package, you're going to be attracting more people to the higher package, and then they're going to be getting in at the venues that you want to be in at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do have a question,
Yeah.
and it's more about like what the venues dictate about. So I've worked for one particular venue for many years who tell me how much I should charge. They're now no longer with me because my prices have risen, and I've recently taken on a venue who approached me, and they asked for 10% commission on all bookings, okay, which I don't mind too much because I do get quite a lot of work from them. I've had another venue approach me and ask, but want 25%,
Nope.
and they're not backing down on that either. And I know it's a bit of a trend. What happens that these venues do take advantage to try and make as much money as possible. That's fine. I've spoken to other people in the industry, and when some have said, like Lee Smith, for instance, he will never do any venue at a commission. So I've always been a bit, because my prices are fixed, I can't up my price for a particular venue to cover that cost. I just wondered your opinion on it.
I've heard of 10%. 25% is ludicrous, and I mean, my instant thought is to turn around and say to them, "What are you doing for your 25% commission?"
I've got to be careful what I say, but
well, yeah, don't word it like that.
Yeah, no, yeah. So the 25% would bring in a lot of business, but it would basically mean them getting rid of their existing DJ to have me on board, and they guarantee me every single client will be offered my package by them, and that's why they charge a high percentage.
No, Jack, what do you think?
I mean, I'm inclined to call bullshit. But, it's hard. I mean, it's slightly different because obviously we're not DJs, so we're not booked for every single wedding. Whereas obviously a DJ is booked for almost every single wedding unless they have a band and something else instead. So I think 25 is ridiculous. 10% I can get behind. I mean, I personally don't work with any venues that charge commission or charge any rates at all, but that's not by choice. It's just a case of the venues I work at don't do that. So it's
such a tricky one. It is really tricky.
Yeah, I feel like 25 is high. That's the biggest issue I've got. I think 10% I can get on board with, but 25 unless they are doing something exceptional for that extra 15%.
Well, that's what they're saying. I went back to them and said, look, 15% is the most I will go to. And they said, but you need to understand that the reason why we do 25% because we only have single recommendations for each different supplier, and we will be very direct with them about them using you.
See,
are you essentially the only person they can bring into the venue? Are you essentially the only DJ that they allow? No.
The one what they push.
Right. Okay.
I'd say that if they wanted 25%, then I would be demanding that I was the only DJ allowed in the building. That's how ridiculous I think it is. So presumably they are a good venue with a paid wedding coordinator. Yes, someone whose job it is to help coordinate the day and everything like that. Like it's a venue's job to help a couple make their day as good as possible, that should not come with kickbacks, which is essentially what they're
This is what makes me
for.
really uneasy about it. It does seem like I'm a bit of a sales pitch, a bit car salesman, because they want their 25%.
Yeah, because and that's not how it works. So I have one venue that I pay to and I'm a recommended supplier at, but it's a yearly payment which gets me which buys me 3 wedding fairs, and I'm perfectly happy to do it because it makes me many hundreds of % return on investment. So I'm perfectly happy. But that's a different story compared to them. So let's say, for example, that someone is thinking about getting married in a venue and they've got something kind of not booked in with the venue, but they've got a date held. In that time, they make a booking with you. The venue has nothing to do with you then getting that booking. Do they still get their 25%?
Okay. Yeah, so I have spoken to them about this, and they said as long as I could provide them proof that it wasn't via them, then they will happily. But anyway, look, it's 95% a no. The only 5% of me that would maybe consider it is if I was thinking about maybe taking my prices off my website, having like a price brochure that I would let someone download, and then a particular brochure for that particular venue,
where you've got the 25%
and
top.
I would put the 25% off. So it's 25% on. But as I said, I'm 95%. It's a no from me, and I've given them till Monday for me to contact them back.
So, just to play devil's advocate, because I feel like one of us has to. What harm is there in it? So, because you're not doing any work to get that gig, they're essentially pushing it all towards you. Would you get the gig anyway? Are you going to get significantly enough more work to justify it? It's just. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea.
It's like.
Well, do you get booked for that venue anyway?
Once a year.
Once a year. Do you need the extra work that they'd be potentially giving you?
Probably not.
Well, I think there's your answer then. Yeah. I'll be absolutely frank about this. I think they're being literally just greedy. I mean,
without a doubt.
It's pure. It's pure greed that is driving that.
Yeah.
I mean, they will be turning over 10 times what you can turn over as a company, and then they're trying to take the money out of the little business's pocket. It just doesn't sit right with me whatsoever. 10% I would get on board with if they are literally going to be pushing you that. If they're actually working to get you sales. 10%, that's fine. 25%. It's a joke.
Yes.
All right, let's look at this. So let's say you've got your let's say to make the maths easy, you've got a £1,000 package. They're going to take 250 quid. You're then going to take off 20% for your tax. You take 9% off your national insurance. You're then left with take off your expenses. You're earning about 200 quid. Or without them charging that, you're earning close to 500 quid. It's so high, it's almost funny, but it's just. Rude.
I was quite shocked, to be honest. I was quite shocked when the proposal come through, and but do you know what? No, one thing I've got in my back pocket is I do know someone who decorates the venue and he's on their suppliers list. So I haven't spoken to her in a long time. I'm thinking about phoning her up and asking, look, between me and you, what's the crack here? Why?
Does she pay 25%?
I don't know. That's why I'm going to hopefully, if she's willing to share that information, hopefully,
I would find out that information. And if she's not, then it seems like they are just. I mean, and to be honest, it seems a little ridiculous. I mean, let's say top package, 1,300 quid or whatever that ends up being. They want to take 25% of that. So what's that? That's 325 quid. Like they're probably their venue. How much does it cost to get married there? Tens of thousands. And they're trying to sneak an extra 325 quid. It's just
it's chasing the pennies, isn't it?
It's greed if they want to make another 300 quid at somewhere, then put their price up 300 quid. I think you know our opinion on it. It's your business.
Yeah,
You decide
no.
how you run it. But I think that, or the just to draw myself out and to stand over here as another angel on the shoulder, like Jack said, if it's you doing 0% work and they're going to potentially fill a date from you, and you've got to pay 25% for the pleasure of it, then maybe, but
maybe not.
There's no upfront costs to it, so it's a booking which has a very high cost per acquisition, which it's a cost per acquisition I would not be happy. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm happy if I'm getting booked for £1,000, I'm happy paying 100 quid for it. If you're 250 quid for £1,000 booking, I don't know. Unless they happen to do a shed load of midweek bookings that you wouldn't otherwise get, or something like that, because that's when potentially,
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, like as you said, Chris, you've got to pay your taxes and national insurance on the 1,000, not on the 750 as well. At the end of the day, like you've got to pay it on the big number, not number after they've taken their commission off. So you're losing a lot of money off that, aren't you? So we're both inclined, I think, to say that 25 is a bit absurd. If you can find out any more information from other suppliers who are currently there, and find out if they are charging the same commission and if it's worth it for those suppliers as well. If everyone says that 25% is well worth it because they don't have to do anything, literally they just come in and they're ready to give me their money, maybe consider it. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But find out from as many people as you can whether it's worth it for them.
Yeah.
Just to throw another curveball in there. So let's say a £1,300 package is costing you 325 quid to get. Like, how many gigs do you reckon you could book through £325 worth of Facebook ads, or £325 of AdWords or whatever?
Good point.
I love the way you've thrown that in.
At the end of the day, it's a £325 business expense. It's a 325 guaranteed booking if it happens to be the top package. Or I guess the other option would be a sliding scale. You say, I'll pay you 25% if they book my top package. I'll pay you 15% for that, and I'll pay you 10% if you for the bottom package, or something like that. Those, I think our opinion, but I'm also we are willing to kind of throw things around in terms of making it work. But I think do you feel like you've got a way forward with that, Al?
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm 95% no anyway, so it's food for thought at the moment, and maybe I'll see if I can make this phone call and dig a bit deeper, but it doesn't sit well with me, 25%, and I think there's something that shouldn't really be happening. It's a bit, I'd love to tell a bride, and it's corrupt.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering if there's actually any legality to it at all. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's a recommended supplier. You only recommend them because you're getting a plenty of coin from them. So it doesn't sit well with me, and I will.
I think that money aside, I think what's actually a lot more important within business as a whole is where things sit with you morally. And if it doesn't feel right on a moral level, and if it conflicts with your core beliefs, then don't do it. I think is the because that's what's going to define you as a person, and that ultimately defines your business, I think. So
yeah, sure, no, I get that, and we will see. I will update you.
Yeah, we'll be interested to know what you decide to do. Is there anything else you'd like to ask us?
No, I'm good. I'm good, and I appreciate your advice about the packages and that. So it's all good.
Well, let us know once you've decided what those packages are, and send us a link, and we'll have a checkout on the website and see what they look like, and we'll rip them to pieces again. No, I'm sure they'll be great. But yeah, unless there's anything else, we'll wrap it up now.
No, I'm all good.
Wonderful.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks for everyone for joining us for this live coaching call with Jack Brister and Mike Readings of and sorry, your website. If people want to check it out, Mike, want to just share that so people can have a look themselves.
Yeah, it's djmikereadings.co.uk.
Like Readings, not Readings. Do apologise for that. So
Yeah. Well, everyone says it.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm just become another one of them. But yeah, that was our live coaching call. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you for a live video next week, Monday at 7 p.m. Say goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.